hope you're all having yourself a wonderful, fantastic, and extra spectacular day today! Welcome, one and all, for today is the day of controversy, of drama, of absolute panic! Mainly because not for us, right? We're just gonna sort of sit back, grab some popcorn, and laugh at everyone. But the internet seems to be losing their freaking mind, so we might as well go and see what's going on. You know, everybody wants to rubberneck. So let's go rubberneck at the interwebs and see what the frick they're doing. Starting off with everybody's favorite philanthropist, Mr. Beast, who loves to hire a bunch of PDF files. According to said PDF file, Delaware's, who, in case you don't know, Delaware is a man who I don't know if he's a PDF file specifically. I believe he has a. Sorry, I should rephrase that right. He has He's a how can I say it? Sex offender. I don't know how else to freaking say it without YouTube getting mad at me. Point is, he has on the record that he has that basically, and according to Delaware's brother and father, Delaware had told Jimmy Beast about the situation before being hired, or at least during the process, or at some point in his working there, had informed Jimmy about the entirety of the situation, and for some reason Jimmy did not fire him. Now, the story is apparently changing left and right. However, conclusively, Delaware's brother and father came out and said that Beast was aware. So now it seems as though, on top of a lot of the actual real evidence stuff, a lot of stuff with like Dogpack and like other people that have been what's her name, Pansito, like a lot of people that have been making accusations against Mr. Beast, it turns out that it may not have been everything entirely true. So, in order to be fair here, we're gonna go through and see what other things have come out that apparently have been debunked. And I do want to see this. I don't know the original story, but I've been hearing all about this. So let's watch Some Ordinary Gamer, and hopefully he gives us a link to the original video, and we can check that out too.
Go, no more wasting time. Me, Mudahar, and I'm a little bit sick, but ladies and gentlemen, we've got a wild video today. And ever since I've been covering some of this Mr. Beast stuff, for the last several months, it's been one of those stories where, to this day, even the man himself has not answered. And it's been kind of this game that goes back and forth. And it's kind of one of these stories that just keeps having, like, M. Night Shyamalan-esque turns, okay? Like, twists and turns everywhere. It's like I'm watching Signs all over again. Now, why are we talking about this, ladies and gentlemen, in such a,
Bro, Signs was such a... It was such a weird movie. Sorry, bro, you really brought back some memories there. Signs was weird.
Brave way. Well, there's one channel by the name of Soggy Cereal.
Soggy Cereal, there we go, that's his name.
Subscribers that has made a feature-length reveal on Mr. Beast. Has actually covered many of the actual accusations brought forward, which there are a lot of. So for this video and the concise nature of it, I'm really going to be focusing on the things that really, I feel, are the most important. So I'm not going to be jumping into war crimes or CGI or anything of that nature. Now, to give context over here, about a few months ago, there was a user known as Dogpack404. Now, Dogpack404 is a pretty, I guess you could say, up-and-coming YouTuber. He's got 2 videos uploaded. There used to be 3, but the third one got removed, for why we'll find out later. Now, here he uploaded a video 3 months ago. They got 15 million views. I worked for Mr. Beast. He's a fraud. Now, there was a second part to this video where, again, things get even more intense. And obviously, you can see that it clearly is a pretty big point for YouTube, when the largest creator on the platform is being called out for some pretty serious shit. Now, initially, Soggy Cereal starts this video off with what appears to be Dogpack404 getting fired. So I want you to listen to this to set the tone.
You're pushing back on everything that we're saying.
Okay, so this is leaked Dogpack404, Mr. Beast firing interview.
Well, because you're trying to fire me, and I want to work at this company.
I'm the CEO of this company. If I'm talking, don't interrupt.
And I've been trying to get to this point of working on Mr. Beast for a long time. Can I please have a second chance?
Yeah, you just heard somebody get completely fired from their job. Now, what happens when an employee gets fired? They either walk away into the sunset, seek new employment, or they start one of the wildest internet campaigns that you could imagine. Now, to give you an idea, there were a couple things that I wanted to hit, so I want to start this video off with a pretty hard-hitting point. Now, in one of Dogpack's video, he mentions a character known as Delaware. Now, Delaware is an individual that actually has a real conviction behind the belt.
Here we go. Okay. So, I'm glad he freaking showed, fourth degree, redacted, intercourse victim less than 18 years old. Victim's age, 11. Offender's age, 16. From the look, yeah, that looks like it says 16.
Belt, okay? This is somebody that actually is in the sex offender camp of convictions. Now, inside this entire story, Jake Weddle, one of the people being interviewed by Dogpack, actually had basically...
So, he actually has this conviction. Mr. Beast, according to their defense, hired him at random at a Best Buy. Just didn't even care to look into the guy. Supposedly, even though Delaware's brother and father have come out to say that Delaware had explained the whole situation to Mr. Beast.
Basically come in and talked about this. In one of these long interviews, Jake Weddle mentions the guy was banished by the state.
Even if that guy didn't do anything, they still knew about it and he was still around. And what if he's one of the people in the Discord servers? What if he's not? I don't know. But when I was there, they called him Delaware. It's like, why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know. Apparently they called him Delaware because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware. That's his nickname? Colloquially? Like, you know, yeah, it's Delaware.
Now, initially at this moment in time, kind of the red flag was sort of being...
Sorry, I'm grabbing a microfiber cloth so I can clean my glasses. I have to say, I didn't put a whole lot of, I guess, thought into the smaller accusations like that. There's a very few things from the Dogpack 404 videos that actually, like, genuinely stood out to me and that I really, really, like, got invested in. And this was not one of them. Because a name like Delaware, like, it's too easy to just, yeah, you know, it's like what is it, Zombieland? Remember Zombieland, where everybody was named after the location they were heading to? And so, like, so if let's say you live in California and you're trying to get to DC, Washington, DC, they just called you DC, or Wichita, or whatever the frick, you know, they were gonna call it. So it's a pretty big, it's a trope. It's a trope to, like, name somebody after either where they're from, where they're going, like, something like that, you get me? So, I don't put a whole lot of meaning behind that. But, it is very strange. It is very strange that he, you know, that they called him that, and he is, I don't even know if he is actually banned from the state, to be honest.
Raised, because generally getting banished by a state is some pretty big information. Now, according to Soggy, who got in touch with a few of these people working at the company, one of them being Dustin Harris, ends up actually sending this message. And this is where, again, I want to remind you, when I first covered this story, when I first covered this section, I was genuine when I was saying I don't think there's any good answer to it. But this is some much needed context. Dustin Harris says, as far as Delaware goes, he was just a local Best Buy manager Jimmy found. The company was growing really quickly, and it was just Jimmy and 2 or 3 friends. So he went to Best Buy and hired like 3 people. One of them was named Delaware, Best Buy called him that, and we didn't make it up, and he ran the store. I guess Jimmy figured if Best Buy thought he was good enough to manage a giant store, then he was probably good enough to run a YouTube channel. I feel like those are 2 completely separate things, but sure. Which was done.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is just not a good excuse for it. If you can't, like, if you're trying to run a freaking business, and you can't even have, like, you don't even freaking check who you're hiring, then you're just an idiot. And I like, maybe you shouldn't be running a company. Like, flat out. Like, I'm not saying I was 18 when I first became a manager, but I do believe I was about 20. I didn't like become 20 years old and was like, oh, if I ever run a business, I should figure out what kind of employees I'm hiring. No, I think that's just that's common sense. Like, If you're gonna hire someone, especially for a philanthropy business, especially for a YouTube channel that's gonna be aimed at and geared at for kids, you might want to look into who the frick you're putting in charge of your companies. No,
But
this is
Jimmy
not a
was
good
like
excuse.
18 at the time, so not surprising. We do background checks now and have a super in-depth hiring process. People tend to think
So you do background checks now, but you didn't do that for Delaware? At any point in time? How long has he been working for your company and you couldn't take the time? So apparently you checked other people, but not him? Is that what you're saying? What do you mean?
of a giant company we are now when they hear stories, but it wasn't a 300-person company then. It was like 5 guys buying a
It was like 5 guys. So all you needed to do was check 5 people's backgrounds. It's like $50 a piece to do a background check.
car with pennies on the weekend. So clearly Mr. Beast's company is far larger. Like, obviously they're making more extravagant content, but back in the early days of spinning a fidget spinner and saying some name a million times, Mr. Beast's company was, of course, very small. Now, somebody that also, is in the small business world, I understand what it can be when you're starting a company and you do make some mistakes. However, I think hiring a registered sex offender is not a mistake that should, again, be washed away so lightly.
I'm glad he specified. Because I wasn't even sure how that would work, right? Because he was technically 16 and she was 11. Therefore, it would not be a PDF file. It would actually be just a sex offense.
But the point they mentioned, Best Buy, again, the idea was if Best Buy hires you, they probably ended up doing
make
the
corrections
actual
to how I
due
talk about the
diligent background
subject
checks.
now.
Now, again, maybe this is a bigger concern that I have with even Best Buy. How is somebody who actually has that record, one that would take like $50 to get a proper background check done, how did Best Buy not find it? So again, this is one of those things where people look at it and say, okay, maybe it kind of makes sense how you let this hiring go through. So Delaware's first appearance was on Jimmy's YouTube channel. Right here you can see that Delaware is standing without actually having a mask. Now if you look very carefully, Delaware's t-shirt will actually say Best Buy, so it actually has Delaware written on it. So it wasn't a name that they came up with over at the Mr. Beast Studios in order to like run some weird sick joke, as that Jake Weddle idiot put it. If you actually listen...
Yeah, it genuinely does, like, he very, very much made it seem like there was like a huge, like, funny joke, inside joke conspiracy happening, which is just not the case.
To the Jake Weddle interview again, it really comes across as they had this really sick joke where they actually knew the guy was banished from Delaware, named them that because of the crime, and were obviously like putting him with masks on so it would somehow conceal their identity. Now I feel like this is, again, taking a situation like
That being said though,
because of the
can
crime,
you really blame?
and we're obviously like putting him
Can
with
you really
masks
blame
on, so
anybody
it
for
somehow
believing it? Look at this man. That's Delaware. Like, you can't blame people for thinking this, like, for believing it, I should say, so easily, when you freaking, like, put a mask on his face every time, and he's named, like, come on.
Now, I feel like this is, again, taking a situation like this way to the extreme ends of real truthdom, okay? Why did this conspiracy cooked up by this delusional comedian actually happen to make it through Dogpack's video? It literally makes no sense whatsoever. Now again, these are always like he said, she said scenarios, but really the video footage in combination with Dustin's message makes more sense. The guy clearly worked at Best Buy, the name was identified at Best Buy, and it's pretty reasonable to assume that the guy actually, didn't have this crazy nickname cooked up at Mr. Beast Studios. The guy literally was just some dude Delaware they knew at the time who they hired into the company. Now again, it doesn't make the situation less fucked up. All right, this makes the context of these people being evil sickos obviously not as evil as some would think. But obviously, if you're hiring
now they're
anybody
just
in your
sickos.
company at all, you should probably make sure for the safety of yourself and the people around you that people do not have crazy sex offenses like this, okay? And even according to Soggy's video, Delaware was fired about half a decade ago. So
Bro, the fact that we have to actually bring up that point, though, it's like, you should look into the people you're hiring so you don't bring any sex offenders into your company. Why is this something we have to learn?
Pack's video, there was a moment where through a voice changer, an employee was brought into the mix.
Okay, so finally I have a recorded phone conversation. The person on the other end of this line is a different former Mr. Beast employee talking about Delaware.
Okay, I've seen clips of this specific part, this specific like show from the what's his name, spoiled cereal, and so no freaking soggy cereal, and I have to fully agree. I don't like the way the dog pack handled this particular instance. This is very disingenuous reporting.
Also, apparently before this phone conversation got recorded, the person on the other end of the line said that the MrBeast team was actually trying to expunge Delaware's record off the registry, and that's what actually like sparked this person to start recording.
Now, again, this employee got into Soggy's video and basically revealed the fact that they actually didn't even consent to that interview in the first place. So this is a serious no-no when it comes to investigating anyone, right?
Yeah, like, because, like, you have to understand two very important things here. One, if they don't know that this is being, like, I guess the best way to say it is, there's a big difference between, like, what you could say is, like, shooting the shiz, you get me? With the boys. And then there's, like, a statement. Like, a statement that you are willing to back. A statement you're willing to stand behind. And if you're gonna be creating, like, a news report or some kind of, like, journalistic, like, essay, you really need to get quotes from people who are going to be willing to stand behind those quotes after you release the context of the video. Because if they back out, then you sort of like, you just lost all that, how would I say it? You just lost all the validity of that particular interview. And it brings into question any other interviews you may or may not have done, whether they're legit or not. You get me? You can't like, and this is not like as a moral thing. I'm more so as a good how to be a good journalist. You feel me? Like you should be trying to get actual statements from people and make them understand what they're gonna say and how it's going to be used. You feel me?
For instance, they thought the call was literally just gossip, and nothing on that call was actually stated with, real evidence or facts. It was quite literally, according to this person, water cooler talk.
I mean, yeah. To say that I felt trickery used as an understatement. Like they knowingly came and did this. I had
and it's like on top of that, let's say this is let's live in this world where it is genuinely just gossip. None of it was said with any genuine not an actual genuine evidence, proof, or even a genuine malice. I don't even know if malice is the right word, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Let's say he did just sort of like shoot, gossip, talk smack about the boss, because sometimes you just talk smack about the boss. You get me? Let's say it was all that. He wasn't being really serious. Then this is exactly what he's gonna do. He's going to freaking go out and say, nah, son, I get that you're using me as evidence, but I am not a good source of evidence. And now I feel like a major part of your argument has crumbled. And people, especially people that are trying to debunk you, or people that are trying to downplay the actions of MrBeast, they're gonna latch on to these situations and sort of parade them as victories, even though there are still very legitimate criticisms that could be levied at MrBeast.
Like 3 or 4 contacts call me the night that it dropped, and I was watching the whole video trying to figure out what they were talking about. And when it got to that recording, my stomach just like sank.
All because of a call that they unconsensually recorded.
Imagine if this dude lost his job at Mr. Beast. And it was over gossip that he didn't even truly, like, necessarily believe in 100%. Maybe he only believed, like, 75%, but he wasn't sure because he didn't have any real proof. You get what I'm saying? Like, he might still want to keep the job, you know, unless he has, like, because we don't know. Like, we don't have the full story yet until Mr. Beast finally responds. But, you know, you're putting this dude's job security at risk. And that's just not a cool move. That's not okay.
Which you clarified was basically rumors and gossip.
Yeah. I didn't want to be involved with, didn't even know what was going on, that, you know, I was just thrown into unconsensually. And yeah, you said it, man. I just, it threw a pretty big wall up.
So I'm going to talk about ethics real quickly, okay? When you record anyone for a call, like even if you live in a one-party consent state, like I do in Ontario, Canada, when investigating, when doing any internet investigation, especially on super serious topics like this, I do record every single call, all right? And it's always usually not to catch somebody, but it's mostly for me to note take and, you know, re-experience what I was saying, you know, maybe a couple days ago. So in this situation, when you record somebody, you have to explicitly set them up with the knowledge that they are actually being recorded, and more specifically, on the record. If that person had
that's a great way to put it. On the record. See, I was trying to say, like, I'm trying to figure out like different ways to say it. Like it's gotta be legit. It's gotta be a statement. But he says it the perfect way. It's gotta be on the record. Like, it's one thing to gossip, it's another thing to make a statement, and it's a whole other thing to say something on the record so that you're willing to back your own statement. You get me? I love the way you put that.
That they were on the record. Then, in my opinion, it's a serious, massive miss on the part of Dogpack. And I know he and plenty of people will say that he's not a journalist. It's one of the
No, I honestly think, even if he's not a journalist, I honestly believe it delegitimizes. Even if I personally still think that Mr. Beast has a lot of things to be critical about, and I still am not going to forgive him on a lot of stuff. However, it delegitimizes your entire argument because now you have a fault in the point. You get me? It's like when you go to court over something. A lot of times, if a criminal does like a bunch of different crimes, Al Capone will be a great example of this. Sometimes when a criminal does a bunch of different crimes, it's easier to drop the harder to prove crimes and just get him arrested on the ones you know easily can get him put in jail. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, why? Like, there was no. If anything, you've just muddied the waters by adding in this like interview that wasn't done in good faith. You get me? It completely devalues your entire case.
Deflections.
I gotta think of a better word for devalue, right? But
matter.
You get what I mean.
When you make a video that garners over 10 million views, it could even be 1,000 views. When you make a video where you're pushing serious claims like this, you have to make sure every single claim you bring forward has evidence and actual fact brought into it. But not just that, it's ethically sourced. If you're recording people without their consent or them being on the record, then what you say shouldn't really be an admissible thing. The only time, all right, any time a recording that I've ever leaked or released in full is when threatened with lawsuits, but that's an entirely different story. I have tons of stuff in investigations and recordings that could be juicy in a video, especially if it's cut all the way out of context. But when things are off the record explicitly, it's off the record, right? So again, I don't understand why this wasn't treated properly. And again, the way that Dogpack encountered this is literally release the entire actual recording, and at some point have the person notified that they're being recorded and on the record. If that doesn't exist, then we're a little worried. Now, in my videos, I looked at another user.
And I'm gonna use the same criticism I used for Mr. Beast. I'm gonna use for Dogpack here, okay? Like, you're not a journalist. The same way that at the time Mr. Beast wasn't really a CEO of a company. He wasn't a businessman. Like, he was, but he wasn't. Like, they don't got the experience, you know. They don't got that. That's not really something they do. So it's like, okay, but even if you're not, you don't have like a history in CEO. Even if you don't have a history as a journalist, these are pretty freaking like common sense things. If you're going to use someone's statement in a document, in a journal, in an essay, whatever the frick, you gotta let them know you're gonna do that. Like, they need to know that you're gonna use their statements. You don't just go quoting people like that. If you're gonna quote someone, make sure that they're aware of it, and make sure that it's something that they're willing to stand on. Because if it's a hill they're not willing to die on, then you're gonna die on that hill alone. You get what I'm
by the
saying?
name of Jake the Viking, who had mentioned how Jimmy's mom knew about this situation even at the time of Delaware's hiring.
Here we go. Okay, I thought it was his dad. No, it's Jimmy's mom.
While him, on his own side of the aisle, he's considered to be a dubious individual, you know, it really casts a whole new light on the hiring of Delaware. Was this guy brought in, and did the entire company treat him as some malicious, like, inside joke of being an actual RSO? Or was it somebody they picked up off from Best Buy and they just didn't assume to do a background check, even though they probably 1,000% should have? Is Mr. Beast a complete idiot for hiring this guy?
It's a totally different thing, though. It's way different, dude. One is like James Bond level, like, villainy. The other one is like, well, I say James Bond, right? I'm exaggerating, but and then the other one is like just an idiot running his company like an idiot.
Absolutely. Should a $50 background
both
check
worthy
have
of
been
criticism,
done?
but a completely different kind of criticism.
This massive conspiracy that DocPack, Jake Weddle, and all these people have sort of brought up? Probably not, with all the added context and information that we just got.
No, not
like,
so.
This kind of reminds me of, like, even situations with Mama Max where...
Guys, we should not judge Mr. Beast for hiring a sex offender to run his company. We should be judging him for unknowingly hiring a sex offender and putting him in charge of his company that also works with kids. That's what we should be doing. Like, it's way different.
Might be, like, some tidbits of truth, but when it's completely overshadowed by this, you know, insane want to make a juicier story and have the internet gobble up this crazy stuff, it makes any reasonable person question what else has DocPack or really anybody investigating this actually hyped up. When you're presenting serious stories...
Not just hyped up, sorry, really bad pause there. Not just hyped up, but genuinely now, it puts every single thing on that video into question. Everything.
You need to do it seriously. You need to do it ethically. The Delaware story, in my opinion, is already fucked up. And you don't need to make it even wilder by creating this conspiracy, this conspiratorial like story inside the Mr. Beast studios. It's bad that you're hiring people like that. It's as simple as it is. Now, later on, there are other allegations that Soggy discusses, and plenty of people have actually looked into. One of them was actually the war crime allegation. So if you watch DocPack's video, the allegation actually relates to Jake Weddle, who participated in this...
And you know what? I have to say this before he gets into it. I feel like this is what he's going to talk about. I feel like we're probably going to be in the same headspace here. But one of my biggest pet peeves with this whole Mr. Beast situation is that everybody talks about the freaking, like, war crime, the Geneva Convention this, the Geneva Convention that. All this, like, okay, I get it, yes, and it's, I was like that too. But it's sensationalized. It's sensationalized, it's exaggerated, when the reality is that, like, nobody was talking about, like, Delaware, but everybody was talking about the sensationalized, he violated a Geneva Convention law, like, okay, but what about the actual crimes that he did? Like, what are you gonna do? Send him to jail for violating Geneva Conventions? Like, I don't even think that's how it works. He's just a civilian. He's just a random person. These are, like, rules for war. What are you talking about? I get it. It's hilarious. We can sort of, like, about it, but it's like, at the end of the day, there's actual genuine crimes being done here, and if we're just gonna, like, turn it into a clown show, then nobody's gonna take it seriously.
Mr. Beast challenge, where he was earning money by doing this Mr. Beast challenge. And while he claimed that he experienced some suffering, he experienced pain, the comparison to his suffering and the Geneva Convention and United Nations Torture Convention is completely fucking flabbergasting. Because at the end of the day, one person gets paid to participate in a pretty lucrative job, and the other person is in a black site getting fucking tortured, okay? Very, very different scenarios. Again, you don't have to make things...
Like, I have to say this. I am 95% certain that if at any point bro was like, you know what, Jimmy, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. This is torture. Let me out. Get me out of here. I'm freaking done. Like, I am 95% sure that they would have let him out. Like, I get it. Like, I get that they were like, we're not turning the lights off because XYZ reasons or whatever. But it's like, at a certain point, like, you're an adult. You gotta be like, you know what? Screw you guys. No. Either you turn those freaking lights off for the night, or I'm walking the frick out of this experiment. I can't handle this anymore. Like, what do you do? Like, you have a voice. You get me?
Things super duper juicy. If you already have reasonably damning stuff, stick with that. Why even go out
By
of
the
your
way,
way to throw...
I'm not defending Mr. Beast on that. It's still terrible that they wouldn't turn the freaking lights off on this. Like, come on, bro. Let him sleep. Like, what is wrong with you? Now, just because I judge him harshly doesn't mean I've suddenly forgiven Mr. Beast for any of that stuff either. You get me?
The most insane points just for the internet attention. It completely dilutes the entire investigation when people do this kind of shit. So at this moment in time down the road, there was one more actual investigation, one piece that really interested me. It was actually the illegal lotteries that Mr. Beast was alleged to be operating. So one of these lotteries in DocPack's video, according to Soggy, is completely disproven, thankfully due to the Wayback Machine. You know what I talk about how important having Wayback Machine is? I'm not even joking. It allows you to literally grab any YouTube link, even ones that have their videos deleted.
It always lives on the interwebs. It always does. Fun fact, and you don't have to do this, please don't, but if you do, I won't be mad. Just don't freaking share the videos to anyone. But you can even go back and see me in my IRL time. Like, I've been doing YouTube since, like, 2015, so you can probably go find my freaking IRL face and stuff. But, like, you know, please don't show anybody. I don't care if you guys know what I actually look like. I don't care if you guys know my actual identity, my name, any of that stuff. I don't really, like, mind it. But you know, I've said this in the past. I want Monke to be the Monke. You know, I want this. This is for me. This is a voice acting like deal. There's a voice acting situation, and I want to keep voice acting. So I this is like my. I want to keep the magic alive, so to speak.
Throw them into a Wayback
So please
Machine and just
keep it to yourself. If you ever put it up on my chat or any of my places, you're getting banned. It's fine if you know. It's okay if you have that information. I don't care. I don't mind. Keep it to yourself. Thank you.
Up what the video or the description.
But yeah, you can even go back and watch all of my stuff, like my videos from like 2015.
In the past.
They're so cringy. I love it.
I should have caught this, but one of the things that Soggy brought up was a interesting YouTube user interface layout. So on the right, you can actually see what is a real YouTube layout, and on the left appears to be a layout that is completely doctored. And the way that
oh yeah, it's freaking fake. No way! It totally is! Because you can't clip. You can't clip, and it's not showing the likes. It's not showing the likes or the clip or the ability to clip the video anymore.
You can kind of identify this is you can see that the likes and dislikes are not appearing. And
yeah,
YouTube's removed
I was going to say the same thing.
They haven't removed likes. So why that doesn't show up is weird. And obviously the date the video is posted is placed in a rather odd location. Now, this can't be chalked up to, oh, maybe the user interface was different at the time of upload. Even through
no, YouTube has literally never, ever disabled the like counter. Ever. Like, dislike was a pretty freaking controversial move. But the like counter, especially, never. They've never freaking removed that.
Machine, it still doesn't match this. So whether this was a convenient editing, trick to basically create a user interface to make the video look like, it was actually hosted, or this was a screen grab, is...
Here's the thing, it doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's been doctored. The evidence has been doctored, the evidence has been tampered with. It's now inadmissible. You get what I'm saying? It's freaking garbage. You can't use that evidence anymore.
Questionable, and it's one thing that I think people should honestly look at. What else are you willing to obfuscate? Now, the reason why this is such a big deal is in the Wayback Machine, you can actually look up the description for the video that, again, DocPack is going after. And in the description, you can actually see that the entire, mentioning of, free entries for the sweepstake, which is what the contention of illegal lotteries was, actually got mentioned. So why wasn't this brought up in the video itself? That is a pretty serious mention. Did you want to make things look juicy? Did you want to deliberately modify evidence so that you can present things in a worse light? Because that, like I said, is incredibly fucking unethical. And it's one thing that deserves to be called out. Again, if someone is doctoring evidence or presenting things in a bad faith manner, every single allegation you've made, comes into question, as it rightfully should.
Yes, yes,
So it's
absolutely.
why when I've ever researched anyone or have actually brought forward serious allegation, it's working with what you actually have and can prove in a video, right? If I show you IRS,
It's like the best comparison I could make here, and it's not a 1-to-1 either, but like Mama Max. Remember Mama Max? Like, if you violate the integrity of the investigation, then what's the point? The whole investigation gets thrown out. We can't trust anything that comes out of your mouth now. Like, if you cannot handle it with the seriousness and the caution that is required to handle such a controversial and potentially life-ruining, like, accusations, then you probably shouldn't be the one making it. But maybe you should have gone to somebody who could have handled this better, like a Mudahar. You get me? Or a Copyzilla.
Because you can download that for yourself and actually go through it line by line alongside me in the video. If I show you some crazy shit happening on the blockchain, I'll walk you all the way from the beginning to the very end, so nothing seems out of place, and you, the viewer, can come up with your own conclusions, not presenting things in a way that's going to have you come to a conclusion I want you to. All right?
Yeah, basically, you need to lay out the facts and provide the evidence, show the receipts. What you don't want to do is tell people opinions or how they should perceive the facts and the receipts. You need to just show it to them, and it's like, yeah, like, this is pretty indisputable proof. Like, what, are you gonna argue against evidence? You're gonna argue against actual genuine proof? No, you're not.
That's how I think investigation should be handled, and it wasn't how it was handled over here. So the next big thing was spreading, like, CP allegations.
I'm still listening, but I'm gonna put
Now,
some
again,
ice in my cup.
Anytime you involve creators and
Let me know if
CP or
Mudahar's
something
too
like
low,
that,
if I
this
should
is
raise
a
the volume.
Pretty serious point, okay? Now, remember that baker lady, Rosanna Pansino, I talked about?
I
Well,
remember.
she uploaded a video where it was titled "Mr. Beast Knew All Along."
I like her, actually. She's really cool. I like, even if this turns out to both be whack, I like her content. I've been watching some of her content. It's like pretty cool. I like it. She does some she's really good for, like, figuring out, like, healthy snacks and stuff. I watch a lot of channels. Oh my goodness, I forgot this one dude's name, but there's like this there's this really cool doctor that, like, really explains the science behind foods. You guys have probably seen shorts of him where he tells you, like, hey, if you're gonna eat, like, this fruit or this vegetable, you should also eat this other fruit or vegetable, because the proteins from the vegetable will help break down the fibers from the steak or whatever the frick. You get what I'm saying?
1,000 leaked messages.
I like that.
Now,
I
inside
like
the
all that
description
stuff
over
like
here,
that.
you can see that Rosanna Pansino is saying, these Mr. Beast Company work chat logs have been confirmed as legitimate. So immediately you're looking at this and you're wondering, why is this that big of a deal? Well, if you look carefully at this image, one that I have to blur out even more is an image of what appears to be Ivanka Trump when she was 13. So this image is...
Now, here's one thing, and here's the best freaking example of how you poison your own well. Here's the thing. This was not a picture of Ivanka Trump at the age of 13. This was a picture of her at the age of 18 where she consented to be in a magazine nude. Very nude. Now, illegal? No, absolutely not. However, Ava Chris Tyson thought she was 13 in the image, and she freaking shared it on the work email. Sorry, the work Discord. Like, that's still so freaking bad by itself. Why the heck are you sending nude pictures on a work email to your employees of an 18-year-old freaking Ivanka Trump, you lunatic? Like, what? What is wrong with you? But still, you've poisoned your... Like, that's already... Like that by itself is a story. That by itself is controversial. That by itself is a bad on Ava. However, because you had to freaking sensationalize it and add all this other freaking extra context and all this other BS, no one cares anymore. This whole thing gets thrown away. It's all just bad faith argument, you know?
One that's censored by Rosanna Pansino, one that I've also further censored on my own, comes across as a actual video where allegedly they were sharing CP in the group chats. Now, this is a pretty serious allegation. Again, if you distribute any form of material like this, it's not protected by the First Amendment. You can, in fact, see yourself go to jail for 5 to 20, and in some cases, 30 years, as you rightfully should.
Yes.
Now, what kind of evidence was kind of brought up forward over here? Well, let's look carefully. In one case, no form of alleged was being used. It pretty much was treated like actual CP was shared. Now, this group chat from Telegram actually ended up not being a work chat, so already a mistake right there. If you look at this actual chat, when the group was made in 2019, Ava, Chris Tyson, makes it, I created this chat for NSFW memes. Because the other people in the dumpster fire ones are normies, And of course...
And again, if you're going to make an NSFW chat like this, you need to moderate the fudge out of it. And you need to make sure that the people that are going to be on that channel are of legal age. Because if not, then you're literally just distributing corn to minors. Whether it's CP, it doesn't matter. You're just distributing corn to minors, and that is definitely illegal.
First, the further you see this, even Ava gets mad that anytime somebody shares stuff work-related, that's work stuff. This is a non-company meme chat. Like, dog, it is so easy to actually uncover this that it's not even funny. Like, you can absolutely discover this for yourself, okay? You don't need anybody else to tell you. You can research this on your own. Now, in a deleted community...
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's boring. I'll let you do it, Mutahar, and I'll just react to you, okay? Sound like a plan? That's a plan. All right, that's cool.
Post that thankfully was archived.
You keep doing it. You monetize it. You put ads on the video, and I'll keep watching them, and I'll leave it on repeat a couple times, and send all my people to go watch and like. You do it. Right? You get the content. You get the stuff.
Community was when Doc Pack
make your bag, bro.
New Mr. Beast emoji, fire. Ro and I, that's Rosanna, got access to some of Mr. Beast's internal work chats. We have to sort through them and censor all the naked pictures before leaking them all. But we just went through some of the chats on... What? Oh, wait, they thought they had CP on there? Wait, naked pictures? Whoa, hold on a minute there. I just had Logical Larry here message me through my schizophrenia, boys. If the images contained what you believe to be CP, if you can't just be possessing them. You can't be sorting through them.
That is actually very true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because just the very idea of like, so just possessing the corn, the CP, is illegal. You cannot have CP in your possession, even if it's for reporting purposes. That's you're not allowed to do that.
And censoring them. Just merely possessing CP is a criminal act. Like, bro, this isn't goofy drama. This is an actual criminal act that we as a community rake anybody over the coals over. For possession of CP in the United States federally, you can expect 5 to 20 years of jail time specifically for transportation, which depending on how the law is interpreted in a courtroom, could mean that if you shared this internally between people on the internet, okay, in the group chat, so as you're, editing these videos and censoring things out, that is illegal, okay? Even if it's your first time, even if it's your actual issue, you are actually facing 5 to 20 years of prison, okay? It's fucked up. So in the video, apparently it was...
And by the way, I've seen some people make a very strange, or I want to say, not malicious argument, but I want to say misinformed argument or misunderstood argument. It definitely should be illegal to possess CP, even if it's for a journalistic reason. And some people have said that maybe journalists should be allowed to like make an article or write an essay about no. If you are in possession of CP, that means by using logic here, that means if you are in possession of CP, you A, got access to CP, were able to obtain CP and possess the CP. So it's like as a let's say a law enforcing entity, police, FBI, whatever you want to call it, they need to know who has the CP, who have you given it to, or I should say, who have you given access to. They need to know who you got it from, how you got it, and what method you used to get it. Like, they need to know everything about this, because that is like, there's no good reason. Like, you're not gonna be like, oh, I just accidentally stumbled across it. It's just on Google. No, it's not. It's not just on Google. You gotta go and look for this stuff. Okay? So if you are in possession of it, that means you have channels for getting access to this, and the FBI needs to know about it. You get me? So,
Reverse
yes,
engineer.
it should be illegal for people to even possess the stuff. So, yes, if this was actually CP, Dogpack 404 and Rosina Petsino would absolutely be admitting to a crime, to being in possession of CP.
What they
And
believe
no,
to be CP,
censoring
like
it does
reverse
not
image
make
search,
a
which again, if you
difference.
believe it's CP,
Because it
why
means
would
that you were
even
still
try to
able
do
to
that
access
in
it.
the first place. Anyways, the picture they censored in the video was actually an 18-year-old image of Ivanka Trump from GQ magazine. So again, if this took 30 minutes to find, why even falsely accuse someone of distributing seriously illegal?
Yeah, and this is actually incredibly disingenuous. You cannot, and it said wrong with me at the time. But you know, it's the sensationalism of it all. I'm sure I was going along with it, but it definitely is bad. You should not be making these sorts of accusations. Not only on a morally, like, don't do that, but like also specifically, like, again, if you make this kind of a serious accusation and then it turns out to not be true, your whole argument starts to fall apart. Nobody's gonna believe you anymore. You're losing credibility.
Material.
Credibility.
Like, the
Sorry, I
people
can't
that are
speak today.
defending the dog pack stuff need to look at stuff like this and say, this is very fucking reckless, and it shouldn't have happened
Absolutely.
in the first place. Again,
Yes,
I don't
agreed,
even think
agreed.
Mr. Beast is going to sue, because honestly, it's too much of a public perception hit. But if I was in his situation, bro, it would
I gotta be honest. This is a very smart move from Jimmy. Very smart move. Because if he responds to any of it, it legitimizes it. And this fool is being a fool. When your enemies are destroying themselves, do not interrupt them. I think that was Sun Tzu or someone like that, right? Sun Tzu, someone. Like, do not distract your enemies when they are destroying themselves. You get me? Now, that's a smart move. That is the smartest move I've seen. I'll be honest.
take a lot for me not to contact my legal team and issue some fucking actual attack back. Because if you're going to accuse somebody of distributing CP, you better make sure that you have actually confirmed that they're distributing illegal material. So while Ava is sending this stuff can be disgusting, even with the context of this being a discussion involving controversial figures like Jeffrey Epstein and trafficking, it's completely irresponsible to say there was CP distributed when it isn't. It's just bad faith reporting. And this level of mischaracterization has any reasonable person questioning not just the evidence, but even the motives of the people involved. Look, if this video that I'm making hasn't convinced you to question everything, I don't know what will, okay? And why is it that a baker on the internet and, this one disgruntled employee aren't being questioned far more seriously? Like, you can't just take everything somebody says at face value. You shouldn't take what Dogpack says at face value, nor Soggy, nor what I say. Do actual research. Look at these situations objectively.
Nah, that's too much work. That's too hard. I'm just gonna listen to you. You're cool.
So one of the actual responses that I keep seeing Dogpack make is, I'm not a professional journalist or investigator. My goal is just to bring credible allegations.
That being said, I gotta say, like, we're making jokes here. I fully, like, not only have I basically made this my new methodology, I already was kind of doing this. I just don't believe anything on the internet, ever. Like, no matter what, don't believe it, never gonna believe it. Like, until I see it dead, like, right in front of me, I'm just not gonna believe it no more. Ever. Well, hope you have yourself a great day, Master Sam. Thank you for swinging by, my dude. Oh, reading some books, sweet. What kind of books are you reading? Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. Is it a spooky book? Is it an educational book? A funsies book?
Too light, so they can be.
I just got 2 new books that I said, I think I got them like two anime expos ago, and I never freaking got a chance to read them. But it's I'll let y'all know later. But there was this like really cool I'll talk about that later. I'm thinking about making a whole like book club video on it. Maybe we'll get to that at some point.
So I find that response of not being a journalist to be incredibly infuriating. Like, dude, no one's asking you to have a journalism degree or work 5 years in an institution, but it's pretty obvious to not be a bad faith person. The people defending this in vain of Mr. Beast being this evil figure in their minds Dogpack is not this brave person to come forward with this stuff. Dogpack, if these are actual serious allegations, is only making things worse if there's actual malfeasance. Because now everyone's questioning the story. Guys, it's okay to question people. It's okay to understand that no one in the story appears to really be a great person, okay? You can not like Mr. Beast, you can hold him to task, and you can also say, this dipshit Dogpack should absolutely should be raked over the coals for a serious level of bad faith that we're seeing right here. One of the points...
Yeah, it's like, I gotta say, like, there's very few people that I genuinely dislike the person specifically. There's a lot of people I can say I dislike their actions, but not a whole lot of people I can say I dislike the person as a person. Very few people that I would honestly and earnestly say that. You get me?
Point of contentions for me was when Dogpack accused an individual known as James Warren of domestic abuse.
Bible history is
Now, at the
freaking
time,
metal.
I tried to get in touch with the source who allegedly...
Let's be honest, bro. You want, like, it's hardcore, bro. It's bloody, it's dark, it's scary, it's spooky, it's freaking it's dope. There's a freaking whole story about, what's his name, Solomon taking down an entire freaking, like, temple on top of everyone, just using his freaking, like, ungodly strength, just freaking, like, take down the whole freaking tower. Or that one dude who got thrown into the pit of lions, and, like, he basically just sat in the pit of lions hoping that they didn't get hungry. Bro, I freaking love those stories. So they're metal.
All that beforehand,
like, even if you don't believe in the faith, like, these stories are freaking metal, dude. You gotta listen to some of these.
Or to make this video known as Mr. Beast.
Check out, there's this book called The Action Bible, which is literally like a comic book version of the Bible, and it's sick. The art is pretty dope. It's hilarious. I love it.
For, I think over like a month and a half at this point. So until a Mr. Beast employee reached out and confirmed that James Warren Dogpack had mentioned was different, likely not even the same person, with actual pending FOIA requests, is completely wild. Like,
you should check out Master Set. I'm sorry, off topic. You should check out a YouTuber called Melanie Mac. She literally reads the Bible to you. So if you ever wanted to have a sexy lady read the Bible to you in a very ASMR voice, like really pleasantly, do it. She's basically like a Bible audiobook. It's awesome. I don't personally like listen to it a lot, but I watch a lot of her commentary videos, and she mentions it on there. So I just wanted to point that out. If you guys ever wanted like an audiobook version for free, Melanie Mac does that.
Going forward with a
whether you agree with her politics or not, I don't. For the most part, a lot of her politics I don't agree with, but she's a really good YouTuber, and she
shouldn't be this reckless.
She does that.
Like, this is an incredibly serious situation. If you were attaching somebody's real name to a serious allegation, you better make sure.
Like if you're going for a walk and you want to listen to something,
getting sued is probably the least of your worries. Arguably, the only actual allegation that I think Dogpack might have actually gotten right is maybe one of the illegal lotteries when there was like no mention of free entries, like some previous lotteries. So maybe there might be a gotcha there, but honestly, like anything.
But see, in general, nobody's gonna want to like take any of it seriously now. And even if they did, it's like the one thing you could get him on is that illegal lottery. And even then, he could like, what's the worst case? The absolute worst case scenario for Mr. Beast in that particular instance is negligence, or something like that. Like for just like, non-malicious negligence. You get me? Like he was an idiot. He was an idiot for not. He was an idiot for not properly hosting this lottery. You get me? Like, but you're not really gonna put him in jail or anything like that for that. You get me?
In these videos, I've said
when it comes to
illegal lotteries or sweepstakes, it would actually be more impressive to see actual legal insight. Like instead of opinions of me, Dogpack, or Soggy, or anyone
like Legal Eagle
on this whole scenario, it may be
Legal
better
Eagle
to have a legal
and
understanding, discuss
the YouTube
this
lawyer
situation, and describe what is illegal and what isn't. Because again, what matters through state to state, what matters in front of the federal government is always usually different and interpreted different.
And this is why I like Legal Eagle specifically, because Legal Eagle actually dives a little bit deeper into the law on a state-by-state basis or a country-by-country basis. I really like that dude for that.
So I would like to hear a lawyer's opinion. That might be my only concern with all of this. I think any form of sweepstakes or lotteries, when your channel is aimed towards children, is a bit on the predatory side. But I feel like all of this is probably best discussed by a lawyer. Now, about a week ago, I looked at a crypto expose regarding Mr. Beast that was actually pretty damning. And since then, plenty of other channels like
Nice. If you actually, sorry, I won't get too distracted here, but I don't know if you ever saw. I put up reactions for it too. But if you ever watch the Mandela catalog stuff, they use it's creepy because they use a lot of my childhood Bible cartoons and stuff too. Because I actually went to Catholic school, and it's actually the analog horror behind it, where it's like it's the devil trying to mock and mimic like angels. It's freaking creepy, dude. Watch it. It's really good. Oh, I love when
Zilla
like
have covered it. And from Mr. Beast's own
it's like when Japan and anime uses like the Bible and like God and stuff in their stuff. But I like that stuff. It's cool. I love it. Like for example, Demon Slayer. Like they have a lot of like Christian like stuff in it. You get me? But it's not the focal point. But you get like they put little stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Because I understand the background, the lore behind it. Let's call it the lore.
Funds to other people to operate.
Exactly. Oh, so good, so good.
Do I personally trust? Honestly, not that much at all. I think for a guy who is so into cryptocurrency, I have to
watch Mandela Catalog, bro. It's so freaking good.
Up on it, especially if that fund was doing as well.
Like if you know the story of Jonas and you know the story of Adam, you know the story of specifically Judas and like how because a lot of people talk about Judas being the betrayer, but they don't talk about how Judas was also like one of the prime examples of how he regretted the decision he did to betray Jesus so badly that afterwards he didn't even spend the silver that he earned from it, and actually went on a whole trip, a whole like experience of like getting forgiveness. And they bring that up in the Mandela catalog. Like bro's deep in it. I love it. Sorry, don't want to get distracted. I know we're here for the Mr. Beast stuff.
If I gave money to a group of people, I would periodically check up. And it only makes me raise questions.
But I've been watching a whole lot of Mandela catalog lately.
Mr. Beast running that company at 18, 19, hiring RSOs is still not somewhat of a fact today. Like, bro, this is actually quite recent. It's not even that old. Like, you got to give a much better explanation than one that has you gapped away by proxy. So I think asking commentary channels and creators to review videos, and this is from Mr. Beast's idea, where, Mr. Beast sent out messages to friends of the channel like Caleb, Turkey Tom, to cover this entire video is incredibly weird. And even Soggy agrees it's just not the play. So according to Soggy...
Oh, wow. So, see exactly what I freaking said! When your enemy... Do not distract your enemy. What's the actual quote? I know it's a Sun Tzu quote. Do not distract your enemies when they are destroying themselves. Do not distract... Something like that. Distract your enemies... I can't... The keyboard's broken, I'm sorry. It's a freaking Nerf keyboard I got from freaking Ross or Dini's or whatever the frick. Do not distract enemies when they fight themselves. Something like that. Frick! I hit V and it put a C! No, what the frick?!
You still have to actually...
So sorry, everyone. I didn't mean to get this distracted.
DMing my video to creators, asking to take responsibility and accountability for the very serious allegations he still needs to clear up. He has confirmed done illegal things and showcased scummy behavior he still has to respond to, not just from my videos, but from other videos, notably regarding things like cryptocurrency. Because that
I freaking love this. I love this because, see, Soggy Cereal is Ooh, freaking A. Soggy Cereal is Okay, I don't know what kind of demon Mr. Beast hired, but I can't get this sentence out. What the frick? It's like as soon as I start talking about Mr. Beast, the demons start to freaking choke me. Ah! Soggy Cereal. I'm dying. This video's gonna kill me. Soggy Cereal is being incredibly unbiased here. He is calling him out on his bad things, but also calling out lies being perpetuated about him. And I love this. I love the fact that he's like, because it's better to freaking point out the truth than to have a bias. You get me? Objective journalism is way better than just trying to add on, basically put more and more stuff on top of him in a biased way.
And it's something that even Mr. Beast pointed on Soggy's video. Finally, a video that doesn't spread baseless slander about me. LOL. Like, bro, you still have to actually address the crypto stuff, some of that lunchly stuff.
Yeah, there's still a lot of bad things, bro. You still got mold in your cheese. Like, what are you talking about?
And really a lot of the other questionably illicit stuff that has happened. So I also feel used, since it seems he's using my video, which I credited, to inform people of Dogpack 404's untrustworthy nature, as well as hold Mr. Beast accountable for shit he should be held accountable for as a shield. Which I hate, because if there's one good thing that came out of Dogpack's video is that it removed Jimmy's Golden Boy Boy Scout shield that had been protecting him from criticism for years. A shield that should not have existed in the first place.
Yes, because they absolutely used the whole, like, I don't know who it was exactly, but one of the Mr. Beast Camp people literally brought up the fact that, like, oh, a bunch of people are not going to get their surgeries now because of this whole controversy. It's like, brother, if people calling you out on your BS on YouTube stops the surgeries from happening, that's not the people calling you out's fault. That's your fault, and you're a piece of garbage for holding back these, like, charity philanthropy things. You get called out on your bad behavior, so suddenly you can't help people? You're garbage. You're absolutely garbage.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think plenty of creators are infallible. I think there's plenty of creators that make serious mistakes. And as a human being, you should always strive to do the best. If it's one thing I can give Soggy after watching his entire video and researching this even from a closer lens, it's from an investigator to an investigator, neutrality is incredibly important. And this video held both Dogpack to the fire as it did Mr. Beast. And it's not an exoneration. Like, don't get me wrong, Mr. Beast still has a lot of stuff to answer for. But this is how you do an investigation that is completely neutral, an investigation that is, pretty, up there to hold both parties to task and refocus on pretty serious things. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been, the Mr. Beast stuff, the Mr. Beast follow-ups on follow-ups. And while I'm personally enamored by the story, and obviously I think with the people watching these videos, I think you all are enamored as well too, I try not to go into over-presenting these things because, like I said, not everything out of the story really grabs me, but as it develops, it's one that I feel pretty comfortable sharing because I think holding a creator up to task that has questionably done some really shady things is one thing that I've done on my channel for several years now. Probably something that I've done as I've grown more closer and more comfortable uploading myself on the internet. I've done this for years. And what I've seen with Mr. Beast is not something that I've seen far off with people like Logan Paul, people like Gerard, people like really anybody who has crafted, or at least once crafted, a pretty infallible image on the internet, right? But this is me, Mutahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
So, what?
Absolutely agree with everything he said here. Now, check it out. Here's the quote I was trying to freaking find before I accidentally freaking flashed my email. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Like, it's by Napoleon Bonaparte, apparently. I got it wrong. But it's also not my fault because everybody on freaking Reddit credited to Sun Tzu, apparently. Anyway, point being, this is basically a tactic Mr. Beast is using. Like, at this point, he's just letting Dogpack destroy his own freaking argument. And it's a shame, because he does have a lot of things that he should definitely be held accountable for. The crypto scams, the, hiring of a sexual predator, without doing a background check. Bad. Illegal lotteries, bad. Like, come on, bro. Chris Ava Tyson being in your company while also being a freaking, not even just specifically a lolly enjoyer, but very specifically an IRL little girl being drawn in a adult promiscuous situation, basically like child porn, but of actual real little girls. I don't know how, I don't want to bring their name into it anymore, but there was another YouTuber whose daughter, Shadman, specifically drew in his lolly artwork style naked, and freaking he was like even getting like approving of that. So Chris Eva Tyson, like, big difference between lolly liker and actual little girl liker, and that's a that's a little girl liker, not a lolly liker. Just saying. Even though I still find the lolly thing weird, here and there, like it's way different situation, way different. All right. So plenty of things. We're going to move on, my dudes. That's the end of that topic. Sorry, I got so distracted on that. I'm going to go ahead and like the video. I'm going to go ahead and share this with all of you. Please go drop Mutahar a like, a comment. Please, please. Not only like and subscribe, but please comment, because then it shows the algorithm that this video is interesting and it's something worth discussing. So there we go. I'm gonna put this on my Discord. As always, every video that we're gonna be reacting to today is gonna be on the Discord inside of the live stream chat thing. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today. I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi. That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!